All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the IEM Katowice round of 32. And we did have a bit of a break there, but we are back in action and hopefully a little bit better rested for the series as I misclick all the wrong buttons to set up the overlay. There we go. So, of course, if you're new to the Base Trade TV overlay, quick pointing out down here, the score is always displayed, what the best of is, etc. In the bottom left side of the map, we've got the blue Protoss Invasion's Harstem. Esport, that's right. Almost gaming.
Ooh.
I don't know what made it gaming in my mind. Like,
Same thing. I made it invitational in your mind for Ting.
well, in control did that. That's
Yeah. In the top right, as the Red Terran, he is MaSa.
from Team.
Elevate.
There you go.
Good trick one. I
So-
almost didn't get it.
Elevate is, again, a team we don't know a lot about. Kind of like Envious, doesn't really have big StarCraft 2 roots, but it's good that they're still supporting their players and sending MaSa to Poland, for example. We're casting the CSL last night, a little bit awkward because he did have to play a series for it that didn't end up counting or being needed to be played. So MaSa has been doing work recently, getting all of StarCraft out of the way between the CSL, between competing in tournaments, competing in the Ting Open, competing in now in the IEM Katowice round of 32.
So this guy's a college student, so taking a week off from school is actually probably a fairly big deal. I guess it isn't around like finals or anything like that, but I'm sure he had to talk to his teachers and whatnot. Because this tournament is a long tournament. IEMs typically are, I suppose, 4 days, but starting on a Wednesday always feels weird.
Yeah. Now, of course, we mentioned before, the round of 32 is worth nothing at all. Round of 16 is worth $6,000, and I think 300 WCS points. Don't quote me on the WCS points, but a lot of lament and woe from the players that have been losing on Twitter today because of just how close they came to some money. Lil Bao specifically a little bit upset about the way, but anyways, point is there's a lot riding on what is one best of 5. And to take this one step further, Harstem, I almost feel needs to win this. You know why? Because he told me he'd buy me food if he didn't.
Oh, okay. Well then, that was inside knowledge.
I told him I will cheer for you over my countrymen. Now buy me food.
Okay. I'm cheering for Harstem. Where's my food?
No, I actually. So again, I should be cheering for. There's everything in this tells me you should cheer for MaSa, right? Like he's Terran, he's Canadian, all of these good things, and I do wish MaSa the best of luck, genuinely. But Harstem is the guy who's been competing in a lot of our tournaments. He was the one who came up with the initial conception of the Ladder Heroes format, and he's the one who's been really, I feel, just very active and proactive about trying to improve StarCraft 2. So, while he's not a developer or a game balancer, he's done a lot as a player behind the scenes that some of you don't know about and will probably never know about. So I really have a lot of respect for Harstem, and for many, many different reasons, I hope he does well here today. But the number one being, he's been looking pretty good. Now, unfortunately, Protoss did not look so good in our Ting tournament. It's been heavily skewed, and some could argue that's the way the matchup goes when it comes to PvT. Liberators being broken. Some say Colossus are ridiculous, even though they weren't used for 3 months. I don't know. It's kind of funny to see the way the matchup sways here, but it's definitely not as bad as Zerg versus Protoss. I feel like when you watch Protoss versus Terran, there is no hard stopping point. Like, if a Terran gets Liberators, that's not automatically the end of the game. Whereas, like, if Protoss and Zerg hit certain points, that's just, there's no coming back from it.
Well, Harstem has been looking better and better. It's just there's some tricky things that Terrans can do. This game not being a highlight of that, of course. We don't have a one base build, but that is mostly what I'm talking about. I think the other trick in PvT right now is determining what type of player you're facing when it comes to the mid game. Are you facing someone who's going to drop you a lot and basically play like Heart of the Swarm? Or are you facing someone who's going to maybe like 1 or 2 drops, but then go home and just get Liberators? And I'm not sure what MaSa is really feeling like in this best of 5 anyways. Of course, MaSa, being the Terran here, should definitely counteract our bias for Harstem. I think that's how it works, right?
Something like that. Really quick here, guys, I'm just going to comment on that. I'm going to be clearing my throat and coughing a lot. I don't have a quick mute button, so I'm just going to apologize in advance because my throat is shredded at this point. Now, MaSa with the double drops, or not double drops, excuse me, double Widowmine drop, is going to find Harstem in a bit of an awkward state. There's not quite the detection here, but double overcharges deal with these immediately. Wow.
Yeah. Well placed pylons right there. Of course, the Widowmine drops have been something that's been very common for
Oh,
Terran
and
recently.
ooh,
Nicely done.
very slick
Nice.
follow. That blink timing is really fast. In fairness, so you may not have been expecting that, but the medevac going down is always a bummer. Always a bummer. Oh, actually, that's really gonna suck because he's not gonna have maneuverability with the reactor only just finishing up. Now, I don't think Harstem can really push up into this. He's got an observer. He
Well,
sees what's at the top of this. If he wants to blink in to kill the tank, he's going to lose all his stalkers to the Marines. They do have stim.
yeah, I don't think he's going to commit to an attack here, but he is getting a good number of units. Going to distract at the front and then get a war prism into the back. So that's definitely worth this little posturing. And MaSa is also going to be scared of pushing down the ramp similarly. But the Forge's on the way. Takes one stalker, two stalker losses.
The legs just flail.
Yeah, everywhere. There's combat shields, there's +1. Now, MaSa did not go for a third CC, which is also something important for the observer to see. They go for extra barracks, and this will be a 2-base push going to the third base of Harstem. What's up?
Oh, no, you meant Harstem's observer. I thought you were taking shots at me. I was like, what the fuck? Like, I can see that there's no third CC.
As we can see,
I know
I
know my camera work has been like criticized already. I was like, damn, that's harsh. Like, the Adept's gonna load here in the natural base. Gonna be pretty nice. The funny thing is these depots will keep them from transferring around. Like, this looks really awkward, but this is actually a fantastic wall. It's almost a bit of a bait. Unfortunately, it also means MaSa can't chase into it, but not that big of a deal as he doesn't take that much damage from it. Now, we do have the tanks coming out. We still have the tanks coming out, and that's what's worth noting here. Why? No, there's no reason to do this. Stop it. Anyways,
Okay.
there's this weird dynamic where we talked about the Colossus kind of making the reappearance of the matchup. I do feel that we see a lot more tanks coming out to try and deal with that range benefit, but I mean, tanks in general just have not looked good in this matchup no matter who we see use them. Now, maybe MaSa's got something really cool, or maybe he's just going to hit with this, because again, it's a big 2-base all-in. Maybe this just ends up being way too powerful. I don't know. But things like Widowmines have just consistently looked better, especially when dealing with Adepts and sort of those soaky, tanky units.
I don't really mind 2-base tank pushes as long as it's something that you were going up to. So you started building tanks from the beginning defensively, and then you go for a push when you're ready. Like this, you've seen a couple of Terran players think about it like later or after they've already made a couple of Widowmines and whatnot. And that doesn't feel very good. But Orbital Shipyard has a couple of abusive positions. So the major one being behind the rocks at the third, and then the secondary one being at the lip of the main base, shall we say, off to the left of Harstem. I'm not sure which one MaSa is going to try and go for. Harstem is protecting his back, where he actually already broke down the rocks. Just going to use the ledge. It's not like a bad. It's just it's not really an abusive position. Oh, poor Immortal. He tries so hard.
I wasn't sure if you get out of range. That barrier actually soaked quite a bit of damage, but Liberator's giving the front lines. Now, this is one Liberator for now. It's not that bad. He can blink into it and take care of it pretty quickly, but Guardian Shield gets sniped off immediately with a sentry going down. That's a little unfortunate, but that's a lot of Adepts. And if they sit in the dead zone of the tank, they can probably take on the Marines, but Harstem, wanting to play it safe than sorry, does decide to back up. Now, shuffling these tanks in, they're still not in range of building, so this isn't forcing the fight just yet, but eventually MaSa's going to be able to wiggle his way forward enough that he's going to push the issue, force the engagement. DT's coming in. Maybe going to look to sneak into the back line of the tanks with the Adepts distracting in the front.
He's going to go for it. He's got Guardian Shield popped. Gets on top of the tanks, the Adepts, at least one of them. A couple coming from behind as well, and these Liberators a little late to the party. The tanks were not in a very abusive position. They were just kind of out and about and ready for the concave. And this is going to go in favor of Harstem here. We're taking a good chunk of units with him, but still.
I do want to point out, like, that went really well for him because of those DTs. They got right on top of the tanks immediately. The blink was a little bit awkward. That Liberator got like 3 shots off more than it should have if he had focused it. There's a lot of small criticisms to be made, but at the end of the day, those DTs did work. And I don't think MaSa, I actually don't even know if he picked up on the fact that DTs were in the army.
Yeah, I don't think so. I didn't even hear them with the tank shots going off and the Adepts being
muzzle.
Covering, kind of like showing the... Like, their shades would have confused me, but... Well, they're not being used as harassment. They are excellent drop defense, but not ideal drop defense. And MaSa is going to have some time to do another push, it looks like, and it's going to be another push. So you can lift your main command center, go to the third. It's never ideal mining, but it's better than other races if they 2-base all in. And he is going to be trying to get to at least +2 weapons. So it's like he sees a macro game potential, but MaSa's got to know he's not in a good position.
Well, Harstem moving with the Warp Prism could do some DTs on the other side of the map, and if he gets even just one DT at the mineral line, he's lifting up the command center now. If he gets one DT into that mineral line, this third base is so exposed now, especially, that's going to do a lot of damage to somebody who is on such a very delicate economy in the first place. So
MaSa did snipe the Warp Prism with the army and maybe thought that he wouldn't have to worry about it for some time. Harstem kind of like, he's like, oh, JK, you didn't see that. No Warp Prism here.
Yeah.
Goes back home.
Please no look. Drop heading to the natural base, but Harstem on top of us with Warp Prism, or sorry, the Mothership Core does decide to put on Overcharge. Takes out the medevac right away, not a problem. Cancels the Adepts over here, doing many different things at once, but I don't know if he can defend this Nexus. It is a little bit scary. It's a little bit harrowing. He's coming from two different sides. Again, I don't know if MaSa knows about the DTs, so they're just going to waltz in and get on top of the tank. And remember, DTs hit for about as hard as Immortals do, so just swiping away, picks off these tanks. Relatively easy. Cleans this up. And MaSa, this was his entire army. This is everything for him. Because back at home, like, you got one base mining, pretty much.
Now, luckily, Harstem didn't get a DT in there. He did bring the Warp Prism back home. I guess he figured his entire focus is going to be on the defense, so he didn't even want to try and put a Warp Prism on the third base, but he could, and now he's going to.
I love that he managed to get pretty much every medevac except the one that units in it.
Yeah, you know.
Very unlucky. Now, the Warp Prism is here, and looks like we are going to see that warp in. Now, it might be Adepts to go for actual kills, might be DTs for some hopeful damage. I think DTs in this situation are best because if you can force out the scans, that's going to be dangerous. There's a turret covering this base, though, so detection here won't be an issue, but he's hoping to distract at the front. MaSa is not looking for just a moment. Moves the tank back. I guess he did see the blur for just a moment. 1 DT, 3 Adepts, kind of cool combo. Going to head into the main base, but there's nothing in the main to pick off. Going to be a little bit awkward. And Harstem's going to suddenly evaluate just how good his position in the game is.
The main attack being prepped here and is waiting for any amount of units to go into the main to clean that DT up. So a couple of Liberators might scare Harstem off for a little while longer, but his DTs should be doing a lot of work. Actually does a huge warp in here. I don't know if it's gonna be worth it.
I don't know. I feel like when you're trying to fight somebody like MaSa right now, any damage to the SCV is, even if inefficient trades, is probably worth it. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Here we go. Here we go. Get on top of the tanks. Focus them down immediately. Stalkers blink in. Take out that first Liberator. Take out that second Liberator. Only one Liberator remains, and it falls. Down with Immortals at the depths of the front lines. Marines and tanks, not an issue. Harstem is going to lose a good chunk of his army, but look how far ahead he is in supply to begin with, so he can afford to lose chunks of his army.
Yeah. Almost double the army supply of MaSa right now. He sims in with the rest of his army, and pure bio against 2 Immortals and a couple of Stalkers actually could win.
That was actually really sick focus fire, though, on the Marauders. Of course, they were the bigger, scarier part of the army for the Blink Stalkers to have to deal with. Picks off those medevacs, keeps blinking away, trading out best he can, but let's not forget, that wasn't it. Like, there's still Adepts coming. The Warp Prism's still here. MaSa is not in the clear, and he's down to 18 workers.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to know where he's at in the game.
There's one last attack here with 2-2 finishing up, and that's even not going to get... That's going to get cleaned up. Harstem with the depths already waiting. Harstem with the depths in the back too, cleaning up whatever SCVs he had, and he's got to go now.
G2G.
Okay? Bye-bye. Bye, MaSa.
I can't even think what else.